Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and good morning, everybody. How are you today? After we have finished talking about crimes and criminals, today we're going to study grammar. Our grammar today is not that difficult, just we're going to form questions. And we're going to divide these questions into two parts. The first part is asking about the subject, and the second part is asking about the object. And as we know, subject or even the subject is the doer of the action, while object is the receiver of the action. So this is the difference between the two. And also there are some differences in forming the questions regarding the subject or the object. If you want to ask about the subject, so subject questions, when we use the question words who, which, and what, we do not use any of the auxiliary verbs. I wrote here some of them. In the present, am, is, and are. Am and is, the past of these two auxiliary verbs is, was, while the past of are is were. And also, some of the auxiliary verbs are written here, which are do, does in the present, while we use did in the past. So, if I want to form a question asking about subject, I'm going to write directly the verb in its affirmative form after the question words. After who, which, and what, directly I'm going to write what? The verb in its affirmative form. For more explanation, I use am with I, so I say I am. Is, I use it with he, she, it. He is, she is, and it is. While are, I use it with you, we, they. You are, we are, and they are. And the past of am and is, as I told you before, is was, while the past of are is were. The verb do and does, I use do with the following subject pronouns: I, you, we, and they. While does, I use it with the third person singular: he, she, it. We use did with all subject pronouns that we mentioned before. Let's have some examples concerning asking question about the subject. Look, we have two questions here. Both of them started by question words who and here what. These two question words followed by verbs. And look, the first question I'm asking about something happened in the past. That's why I used so. And the second question, I'm also asking about something happened in the past. That's why I use the verb happened. Let's read. Who saw the accident? The answer is Tom. Or Tom saw the accident. What happened outside? I can answer an accident or an accident happened. That means I or even my answer will go directly to the subject, the doer of the verb. Okay, so who saw? Tom saw. What happened? An accident happened. The second part of our grammar today is object questions. When we use the question words who, which, and what to ask about the object of the verb, we form the question with auxiliary verbs. That means the formation will be who, which, what, plus verb in the question form. What is written here make us go back to the auxiliary verbs I explained earlier. Am, is, are, was, were, do, does, did. And these ones just a part of the auxiliary verb we need to use in object questions. Examples. Look, we have two questions here. Both of them started by question words. Who, what. The first one, who did. So who followed here by auxiliary verb. Did, then the subject, then the main verb of the question, which is see. And this verb, as we see here, in its base form, that means V1. Who did you see at the restaurant? The answer will be Tom and James. Or I can say, I saw Tom and James. The tense of this question is past simple, and the indication of the past is the auxiliary verb did. What are you eating? Chinese food. Or am eating Chinese food. Look at this question. What is followed by an auxiliary verb are, then the subject, then here we have the verb eating. We add to it ing because this question is in the present continuous tense. So the formation came as what are you eating? Exercise. Write questions. The words in bold are answers. The words written in bold are answers that we need to form a question according to them. I'm going to do the first one for you. Then I'll give you a chance to think and write the questions according to the answers that we have. After that, you can check your answers. My question will start by what, so I'm asking about think here. What, not a person. Look, B, this is the answer. James bought a poster from the shop. And I want to form a question according to this word, which is written in bold, a poster. A poster here is an object, is the object of the sentence, not the subject, because the subject is James. James who bought that poster. So, as I told you during my explanation to this grammar, I said that if we want to ask a question about the object, we have to use auxiliary verb. And this answer is in the past. So, I need auxiliary verb in the past. The answer is, I'm going to use did as auxiliary verb here. So I say, what did James buy from the shop? Now, it's your turn. Do it and play the video again in order to check your answers. Here are the answers. Look, 2, here I'm asking about the subject. That's why I directly put the verb, not auxiliary verb. 4 and 5, I'm asking here about the object. That's why I used auxiliary verb, did. And the questions here are in the past. Be careful while using which, because the formation of the question by using which is a little bit different than the other WH questions or even question words. After which, we put the thing that I want to ask about. Most of the time, if I have different or even 2 options, I use which in order to say this one or that one. Which, then a person, a thing, or an animal that I want to ask about. All these follow which, then I use the auxiliary verb. If I want to ask a question about the object. This is the end of our lesson for today. Thank you very much. See you next lesson. Goodbye.